somebody come in from Pennsylvania and says, I really don't know, but common sense would tell you that it was taken a long time ago. I want to go to down under into Australia. We had a question come in from the Outback, if I can find the question here. Here it is from Moody. Moody is cutting Australia's four biggest banks, cutting the ratings on four of Australia's four biggest banks. What do you feel, Mr. Chapman? Is this going to affect anything outside of Australia, or is it just affecting those of us down under?
I think for now, at least just down under, and those are big banks. I mean, I have that in the current issue. It either came out yesterday or it'll come out Saturday. I can't remember which. But that is a true statement. And those banks have overextended themselves. And that's going to affect the real estate business over there. We carry a lot on Australia in our publication. We get a lot of good feedback from there. We used to get a lot from New Zealand, but we don't get it anymore. We used to get a lot from Southern Africa, and we don't get that very often anymore either.
Bobby comes in from New Zealand and says, Mr. Chapman, we got enough on our plate down here just trying to rebuild. You would be surprised how bad it is down here with all the earthquakes.
Yeah, well, a lot of other people are suffering as well. You just got to do what you got to do and try to put it all back together.
Let's see, that's from Canada. In relating to the money supply, Mr. Chapman, you made a comment a minute ago about Mexico having purchased a lot of gold. What about all the drug trade in Mexico and the fact that Mexico has really got a major drug problem now that's spreading all the way through the country, where people are disappearing and murdered even in the southern part?
Well, even in the southern part is where they grow, like in Guerrero, which is where Acapulco is, up in the mountains, right up above the city. They grow marijuana as well as opium. And so it's a producing area. And it's pretty wild country up there. Durango's got the same problem, but Durango is north and east of Sinaloa and south of Sonora. And they do that there as well. Most of the activity in Mexico relating to drugs is usually along the border in Sinaloa and Guerrero. And this war that they've had for the last 4.5 years against drugs in Mexico has not been successful. And I rather think that it was more about taking over the drug trade than it was in stopping it. As I said, there'll be a new administration in a year and a half in the presidency. And I can only believe by what I've seen in the past in Mexico that a deal would be made with the drug dealers. Mexico's attitude is there wouldn't be drug dealers if Americans weren't using that crap. And we have the CIA from time to time that's deeply involved in that sort of business. And so I think things will change dramatically in Mexico. But you have to remember, this is what the numbers are. $40 billion a year to $45 billion comes from oil. $30 billion from drugs. $22 billion from people repatriating funds from the United States, whether illegal or illegal people from Mexico and the United States. Tourism is about $16 billion. So you can see how important the money is that comes from the sale of drugs to Mexico. So, by and large, most politicians don't want to change that.
Mr. Chapman, gold is up 55%, but gold stocks are basically unchanged as they were compared to 3 years ago. Do you feel that we should purchase physical gold and keep it in our hands, or is gold shares a good buy?
Well, the shares are an extremely good buy because they're way underpriced. And they're underpriced because your government has been manipulating the market. Now, gold and silver would be selling at much higher prices as well. And they're depressed as well because the government, for years, has suppressed their prices because they didn't want people to think there was something wrong because gold and silver shares were going up in value. So they've suppressed them. And they've done it legally through the executive order by Ronald Reagan called the President's Working Group on Financial Markets. So they're all underpriced. The difference is gold and silver bullion and coins go up 1 for 1. The shares historically have gone up anywhere between 5 and 40 times what gold and silver bullion have. There's tremendous inherent leverage in the shares. So they're all good buys, but the most leverage is in the shares, particularly at these prices.
Amen. Well, I've noticed that the weather is pretty good down your way. Y'all, are you and Judy going to get out to play some golf this week? And Bobby wants to know, as well as Betty wants to know if Judy's been able to get close to the hole again.
Well, she's been close, but not in. We had a very close friend who was in a tournament and was about a foot from the hole and won a new car.
Whoa!
So not a hole in one, but beat out a whole bunch of other guys.
Outstanding. We like to hear the good news. You know, all you guys down there enjoying life a little bit. One last question from Bobby down under. Mr. Chapman, as bad as things are you going to be able to survive if the United States collapse?
Oh, yes. Yes. The situation in other countries is generally just okay. And some of them are doing well, like Canada and Mexico and Singapore, Malaysia, China, but China's starting to fall down, so to speak. And so it's a mixed bag. But everybody's going to suffer in a worldwide depression. And it can't be avoided.
Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate that warning, and we hope to see you again next week, and maybe we can pull everything together.
We certainly will, and we'll try our best to get a hole-in-one this weekend.
Amen. God bless you. We'll be praying for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Chapman. Yes, sir.
Thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. TheInternationalForecaster.com. That's the 3 W's, TheInternationalForecaster.com. Bob Chapman, the most plagiarized financial advisor out there.